I just sent a permission to promote you, and I see our captioner, Kathy, is in as well, and so I'm going to promote you also.
Mike, you have to give me captioning privileges.
Yep, I'm going to do that right now, Kathy.
Thank you.
And so,
do you want me to unscreen, or is it okay if I stay off?
You're fine off. Once I get it set up, Kathy, if you could put a link in the Q&A, actually, that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, wait, let me know when you've done it, because I've gone off the screen, unfortunately, so I might have missed it.
Okay, Kathy, you should be set and ready to go.
Okay, I see it. So give me a few seconds here. I got to on the back end here.
Yeah, and we don't start officially until 2, so we've got a little time. And then Jen, I see you. I'm going to spotlight you, or I will once we start.
Wait, I want to see how you do that too.
Sure, yeah. Let's click on the 3 dots there. And then oh, you know what? I can't do it yet because hey, good afternoon, Jennifer.
Hi. How are you?
Good. Glad you're able to get on. It looks very sunny where you're at.
Yeah, I feel bad. I need to see if I could change that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, the beach looks very appealing.
I'm not at the beach. Not
That's
yet.
too bad. That's too bad.
2 weeks. I'm trying to find my notes from this meeting. Okay. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I was trying to finish up the policy manual.
You're fine. And I do see Anna Thompson-Jones in our attendee list. And so Anna, I'm going to promote you to panelist. And then I also see our ASL interpreter, Lisa, in the attendee list. And so I will promote you to a panelist as well.
Hello.
And then this is the tech check for our meeting, and we will start officially at around 2 o'clock Eastern. Hey, good afternoon, Luis.
So Mike, this is Anna. And if I am on my laptop for some reason, it is not wanting to do my camera.
Okay.
If that continues, do you want me to switch, or am I okay with not being on camera?
I think it is okay. If you can get it to work, that'd be great, but I think we can make do without if we need to.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, you're coming through just fine, Luis.
I'll tell you this technology, I'm telling you. All right, so am I a panelist or am I
You
part
are.
of the
You are a
public?
panelist. You are ready to go.
Well, and that's weird because this time I didn't have to log in. It didn't ask me for no email, no nothing. So I guess my theory doesn't work because I thought when I was panelist, that's when it asks me for my email and all of that to log in. And this time it didn't ask me anything. So go figure.
Okay, well,
But as
yeah,
long
we'll
as,
have to keep looking at that, but I'm glad you were
yeah,
able to get in.
yeah, no, for sure. As long as I'm here.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to the other email that you originally sent. So I have to apologize for the mass confusion. I've been having trouble with my phone
That's
lately.
Sure, that is okay.
How's the weather there, other than cold?
It is, yeah, it's cold. It's not as cold. It's probably like 40 maybe.
Yeah, correct.
But I think this weekend, I thought I saw the high is supposed to be like 10 or
Yeah,
12
no,
or something
right,
really,
yeah,
really
and that's
cold.
not including the wind chill factor.
That's right.
It was the same thing for us yesterday, like almost 40. I ran outside and hurried up, and the plows came by and dug me in.
Oh, well, I'm
So
glad that you're able to get out.
yeah, since it was warmer yesterday, I was able to go outside and hurry up. Let me clear the snow since it was already melting.
Sure. And Chris Spinks, I just saw you joined as an attendee. I went ahead and promoted you to panelist, and so you should see an invite for that.
Anna. Mike,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, you're
I
coming
guess
through
you
just
can.
fine.
Okay.
Yep.
I cannot get the camera to work and I'm not sure what's going on with that. I know the
Okay.
interpreters like for us to not be on anyway, I
Sure.
think. But
Yes, so I think
I'm
you
not
should be
sure.
fine, Anna. Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
that's okay.
Mike, will it be much of an issue if I'm not able to send the captions to stream text? I'm having an issue here. It's not showing up.
I don't think so. Folks should be able to access it using the caption button on Zoom.
Okay, alrighty. I'll be able to type them in. It's just I'll do it in a more manual way as opposed to the stream text internet.
Okay, that should be fine. Thanks for letting me know though, Kathy. Good morning or good afternoon all. This is the tech check for the public meeting for INSILC. We will get started right at about 2 o'clock.
Hey, Mike, I have a question too.
Yeah,
Do we know, so I don't have to figure out in the meeting, how many of our council members are present? And the voting? Can I figure it out from here?
you should be able
Or
to
do
look at the
others join
panelists
us?
and see,
Okay.
and we will do an attendance. We'll do roll call in the beginning of the meeting too.
Okay. But is it just the folks on here?
Yes, there's a
Or
couple
others
other
joining?
folks who are coming on. Casey, I see you as an attendee, and so I just sent you a invite to panelist. And John Gingrich, I know you're going to be a presenter today, and so I'm going to send you a permission to promote to panelist as well.
I'll be right back in 2 minutes. I got some exciting news.
Sure.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a favor?
Hey, Louise, sure.
I've been playing around with the latest Google Gemini, right?
Uh-huh.
So can you test it out for me with one of the spreadsheets to find out how it reads it? Because even though Gemini reads it, I don't know the actual order, if it's reading it correctly,
Sure.
considering. So maybe you can test it out and tell me how accurate it is. Because it
Yeah, we
reads,
could do that. Give me a few days after this meeting, Luis, to do that.
for
But
sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no. It reads the regular, the regular printed material, because I learned
Yep.
how to share the screen and all of that.
Okay.
But it's the spreadsheet that I don't know if it's reading it correctly or what, because I don't have that concept other than columns and rows or what have you, but I don't know the order.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
I can check that,
Mike,
Luis.
can I ask you to do me a favor? Can you please go down to the lower right corner and make sure that you've changed the view to everyone?
Yes, it's in gallery mode. Did that
Okay,
right
just
when I signed
checking.
on.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mike, this is Kathy. I did get it to work supposedly, but I don't know if you can see the caption, so I'm gonna type something now.
Okay, I do see the link. And yes, I'm seeing the captions. Yep.
Okay. All
Great.
right, I don't know if, are you seeing them in the meeting or you don't want them on the Zoom? You just
No,
want them on the,
I clicked on the link for the stream text and saw it there.
okay. All right, so they do not appear on the Zoom for people to see?
No, they should if you click on the closed caption button. Folks should be able to see it there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I will be ready to go when you guys are.
Okay, thanks. We'll start right about 2 o'clock. Okay, and Ann Barnhart, I see you as an attendee, so I'm going to promote you to panelist. And Christina Trimnell, I see you as well, and so I will also promote you to panelist.
Oh, I think I see Chris. Hey, Chris, can you hear us?
And Tammy, I see you as an attendee list. I'm going to send you a promotion to panelist since you're going to be presenting in the meeting. So you should see that come through on your end.
Mike, this is Christina.
Hi, Christina.
I well, for you and everybody, I'll be gone from like 3 to 3:20 or so, just because my aide has to help me before she leaves.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for letting us know, Christina.
Okay.
Here, Mike, am I doing my own slides during my presentation? Will I be sharing my screen?
Yes, and you do have permission to do that.
Okay, and I assume John has it as well.
He does. Yep.
Okay. Oops, then I will hide my face and my audio now.
Okay, sounds good. See you in a little bit.
That was a great question. Thank you, Tammy, because I was thinking that somebody else was running the slides. So I'll make sure I have mine up. Cool.
I try to at least once a week have a good question. Does that mean I can go home now? That was an evil chuckle, John.
It's been a week.
Yes, sir, it has. All right, I'm going away now.
This is Chris. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, you're coming through just fine, Chris.
Okay, it keeps going on and off for some reason. I don't know what's
Okay.
going on with my computer.
Okay, well, you're on as a panelist, which is where you should
Okay.
be, so you should be set. And then Amy, I see you, Amy Browning Varble as a attendee, and so I'm going to send you a promotion to panelist as well.
All right, good morning. This is Casey Waldy. Actually, good afternoon. It is right at 2:00. So we will go ahead and get things started. So we have, excuse me, sorry. So I'm going to start with a call to order. I welcome everybody to the December 10th INSILC public meeting. It is 2:00, and I will start with roll call. So Lewis.
Present.
Anna Thompson Jones.
Present.
Jennifer David.
Present.
Amy Browning Varble.
Present.
Ann Barnhart.
Present.
Haley Brown. I do not believe she's present. Okay, then we have Linda Greeno. All right, this is Casey. The view just changed to enlarging the interpreter to full screen. Mike, was that intentional?
I was asked previously if I could spotlight the interpreters.
Okay. Has the interpreter been, okay, got it.
Yeah.
This is Casey. Just for those in the audience, if you would still like to see everybody on the screen, you should be able to go to the upper right corner to the view and change that back to gallery view if you want to be able to see everybody that's on the panelist. So, all right, I'm going to continue with our list. Linda Greeno is not present. Laura Kitterman, I do not see as present. Gary Olson is not present. Christina Trimnell,
Present.
Catherine Vest,
I'm here, present.
okay, and Dave Sleckenbach.
And Casey, Dave told me that he is traveling today and he may join late. And also Haley just joined as well.
Okay, so Haley is present.
Present.
Thank you. All right. We also have our non-voting members, which is Amy Llewellyn.
Present.
And then we had Abby Fleener was past chair, so which is not present. And then we also will have guest attendees. We have Mike Fodrell, our executive director.
Present.
Chris Spinks, our spill committee chair.
Present.
And then joining us a little bit later will be Mr. Peter Nye, who is from the Administration on Community Living. He will be joining us in just a little while. So, all right. So, Mike, can you please give our statement of accessibility?
Yes, happy to do that. So we do have ASL interpreting and CART available for today's meeting. The interpreters are spotlighted on your screen, and Casey gave directions. If you would like to see the gallery view, you can do that. If you have questions or concerns about accessibility, you can email me, and my email address is on the website, and I'll give it to you now as well. It's mfoddrll@indianasilc.org. And you can also text me at 317-514-6145. And in addition, if you have accessibility concerns, you can put those in the Q&A piece of the webinar, and we will work to address those as quick as we can.
Thank you, Mike. Jennifer, can you please give us confirmation if we have reached quorum?
Well, I'm not sure because I completely lost count. Did anybody get count?
Okay.
Yes,
so
I've got the count on that, and so we have 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 members, 9 of our 14, and so we do have a quorum.
Okay, I had 10, so I'm glad you got the right one. All right, so we do have the quorum.
All right, thank you. Okay. So first up, we have our, it'll be the approval of the minutes from the September 10th public meeting. Do we have any concerns or any adjustments that need to be made?
Casey, this is Anna. I'm going to suggest an edit, and I don't know how important it is, but just maybe for accuracy. Under
Okay.
new business, it should say Catherine Vest seconds the motion instead of approves the motion.
Okay. This is Casey. Can you make a motion to create that amendment to?
I make a motion to create that amendment.
And it is to that Catherine Vest seconded the motion.
Correct.
Okay. Can someone second that motion?
I second the motion. It's Jennifer David.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to make an amendment to the September 10th meeting minutes that under the new business that Catherine Vest seconded the motion rather than approved the motion. So, and with that motion, that would be approving the minutes with that amendment and the rest of the minutes as they are. So I'm going to do a roll call vote on that. So Lewis.
Agree.
Anna.
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to keep up. Anna,
I already said yes, so I'm not sure who I said yes for. This is
okay.
Anna.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I said the wrong name. Ian Barnhart. I read the wrong name.
Yes.
Haley Brown,
Yes.
Laura Kitterman.
Laura's not here.
I'm sorry, Christina Tumnell
Yes.
and Catherine Vess.
Yes.
And Dave is not present yet. And just to confirm, did I miss anybody? I feel like I'm kind of trying to get my list created here. So, okay. All right. So we have a pass of the motion for to make the amendment and accept the rest of the minutes as they were. All right. So Jennifer, can you please
Yes.
give us ongoing communications as far as meetings and so forth?
Yes. Yep. This is Jennifer David, the Independent Living Council Secretary. This is actually our last meeting for 2025, and our upcoming meetings for 2026, I will give you in just a second, but just know that those will be on Wednesdays from 2 to 4. So our first one will be March 11th, 2026. The next one will be June 10th, 2026. And then September 9th, 2026, and December 9th, 2026. It looks like we are hoping in the fall to start our hybrid meetings. Mike will be giving an update on that. And
Yep.
then I want to go ahead and, oh, right now, sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Jennifer. I didn't want to cut you off.
You're good.
Yep, so this is Mike Fodrell, the Executive Director, and we are moving to a hybrid format. We hope to be starting that in March. So our next meeting on March 11th, 2026 will be hybrid. We are currently working with a few vendors to help us figure out the technical pieces. So we have all of the tech that we need to make that successful. And we're also looking at venues so we can find an accessible venue that'll work for our needs. And so we hope to have more to announce with that on that early 2026, but we are working through that. And the March 11th meeting will be a hybrid meeting.
Okay. Okay, so notice of communication rules for the public meeting. We are going to have a speaker's time limit of, what will that be today, Mike?
We'll do 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. The meeting facilitator will state when the time limit has ended, and we'll mute the speaker if the person does not end. If you do have additional comments that you can write, you may send them to the INSILC chair, Casey Weldy, and her email is chair, CHAIR, at INDIANASILC.org. So when it is your time to speak, if you could please identify yourself before speaking and speak in a tone that is best suited for you. And if you could just make sure it's not as quick as I usually speak so the interpreter can catch you. Okay.
Right.
Public comment?
All right, this is Casey. Thank you. We will now open the floor for public comment.
Okay, and I see, Casey, I see Jeremy Warner with his hand up. So Jeremy, I'm going to allow you to speak. Okay, and Jeremy, you should be able to talk now.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So I wanted to ask a couple questions. And first, I apologize. I was a few minutes late hopping on. I caught the tail end of you guys voting, I believe, to accept the minutes from last time with an amendment, but I didn't catch what that amendment was. Do you mind if I ask what that was real quick?
Yeah, it was a correction to who had seconded and who had made a motion on that minutes.
Okay, otherwise you're accepting the minutes as they were posted recently on the website?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious, because if I recall correctly, at that meeting, you guys ran long in your meeting portion, and so did not have the second public comment period, but your minutes show that it was opened for 15 minutes.
Oh, yes, and that is something that we did realize, Jeremy, and so we have added extra time. We did run out of time due to the times that we had our interpreters booked, and so we've booked them for extra time for today's meeting, so that way we have some overrun time, just in case we hit that same issue again.
Yeah, but if your last minute meeting did not include the second public comment period, but your minutes say that it was open for 15 minutes, then you guys just voted to accept minutes that are fraudulent. And that's not what I came on here to ask, but if that's what's taking place, you need to know that, and you need to tighten up what you guys are doing, because that's not okay. But what I wanted to ask was how many people, because we can't see, how many people from the public are attending this meeting today? Can you tell us that?
Sure, we have 23 attendees at
Which
today's
is
meeting.
that is wonderful. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, and this was something I intended to comment on at the last meeting, was the fact that you guys have been, trying to do the town halls in different locations. And I've heard you several times talk about how successful those were. As somebody who has attended those, I've seen the same people from Indianapolis and the same people from from Northwest Indiana. And then, yes, people at the public portion where their local folks are talking, but then those folks go away, and the only people that have been at the roundtables or participating in the conversation, trying to participate in the conversation, have been the same people over and over. So those have not necessarily really been effective at getting different voices and opinions from across the state.
This
Yep,
is
and
Casey.
that's, oh, go ahead, Casey.
This is Casey speaking. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing that. So at the
Hold it just a second. I
last-
need to spotlight the interpreter switch. Sorry.
That's okay, I will do that right now, Catherine. Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this is Casey. Do we have access?
I was just trying to not get distracted.
Yes, we should now, Casey.
Do we have access?
I mean, we need to unspotlight Lisa now. Because it's on, you'll see two interpreters side by side. This is better. This is better. Thank you.
All right. Are we good?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so this is Casey speaking. Jeremy, thank you for bringing those things up. So while as far as the forums, I do want to speak to, as far as the first two forums had the roundtables. The third forum did not. I know the format was changed a little bit because we were seeing that those input was not being, basically people were not engaging in those roundtables. So the one in Evansville had a different format, and where the public was able to give input to their local their local representatives, and that input was gathered there. So
Okay, so then those parts of your corrective action plan that you guys are submitting to the feds or to the ACL have not been effective and really have no place in the corrective action plan, need to be reassessed and something that is effective needs to be put in place of that.
Okay, so the corrective action plan is something that the feds and INSILC is working out. So the terms of that corrective action plan is what we work with on them. And Peter will be speaking a little bit to that later on.
Okay, so the ACL, I mean, and again, I apologize, I was a few minutes late getting on. So if the ACL is present, I guess I would encourage them not to accept whatever the current plan is, because it's been proven to not be effective yet.
So, all right, thank you for your comment.
Thank you. And then, and Casey, I would add two things. One, just so people know, our plan was to address questions in the Q&A during the second public comment session towards the end of our meeting. And so just want people to let to know that as well. And then we can also amend the minutes, would be something that we could do to Jeremy's first question about not having the 15 minutes. That's something that we could do, and then we could have those reapproved at our next meeting.
All right, so this is Casey. We can, yes, okay. Is there any other comments at this time?
Yes, we have a couple of others. I saw Chris Hollingsworth was next, and then Tammy Hollingsworth was after Chris. And so Chris, you should be able to speak now.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to hear my comment. It's been my experience over the past couple years that INSILC has been really unresponsive to the needs of the community that it serves. Just as an example, I serve as the chairman for the Mobility Advisory Committee with Indigo that does the public transportation here in Marion County. On July 1st, 2026, Indigo will be implementing a 57% fare increase on paratransit. They will implement that on fixed routes on the 1st of January. But we had a town hall meeting, the Mobility Advisory Committee in conjunction with Goodwill had a town hall meeting this summer to emphasize this fare increase and the effects that it would have on the paratransit consumers, so that Indigo would have a better idea of the effects of that. I personally reached out several times by phone and email to INSILC, and I got absolutely no response. Nobody from INSILC showed up to the town hall. It's my understanding that none of the consumer groups were reached out to let them know that there was going to be a town hall having to do with this. So I'm personally finding INSILC is rather unresponsive to the consumer organizations and the consuming public that they're supposed to serve. So my question is that in the action plan, you say you will try harder, but we haven't seen you trying very hard yet. So I guess my question is, how are you going to be trying harder, and why aren't you reaching out more to your consumer public to get the input on important matters such as policy manuals and to give them information they need?
All right, this is Casey. Thank you, Chris, for asking the question. I think what I would like to do is I would like to follow up with you after the meeting so that we can discuss what that was, because I'm not recalling a communication with you, and I want to make sure that we work that out. So thank you for giving that feedback. We will definitely take note of that and follow up on it. So
As a follow-up, when you follow up with me after this meeting, will the information that you and I discussed, will that be made public somehow? Because it should be part of the public record and the public meeting.
So this is Casey. I know that comments are being recorded and we have been trying to place comment. Mike, I'm just confirming, are we still putting comments on the website?
Yes, and it's part of the transcript for this meeting, yeah.
Yes. We can make sure that we do that. So,
Okay, we have two other comments for this session. And so Tammy Hollingsworth, I see that your hand is up. And so Tammy, you should be able to make your comment now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through
Oh,
just
great.
fine.
Super. Thank you so much. I belong to a consumer organization for the blind, and that is the National Federation of the Blind. And I'm here mostly because I did attend a conference in September. And as part of that conference, it was awesome and it gave me a lot of information about a lot of things. But one of the things that I learned about was INSILC itself. And I really did not know at the time that I was that INSILC, what it actually did, and that we as consumers who are disabled should have an impact on that or an input in that. I didn't know, but I know now. And I just wanted you to know from this perspective that I have been on the board of our organization for many years. To my knowledge, we've never really been approached by INSILC, directly to participate in any kind of anything, and certainly not made aware unless you go to the website and find it yourself that there are meetings happening or things going on that impact us. And I did not know that there was an action plan at all until I went to the conference. So what I wanted to point out, I did notice when I went through the website that you are creating policy manuals or have created them to encourage public input. And I'm curious to know who besides the INSILC members were invited to give input on the policies for the public, if that makes sense, because we should be able to talk about how that happens for us as it affects us. And if they weren't, no one was consulted yet, will that be a difference in the future? Is that part of the new policies that exist? So that's part of what I wanted to ask about. Should I ask my other question now or not?
this is Casey. How are we on time, Mike?
We have, Tammy has another 30 seconds on her talk, and then we have time for probably one more comment in this session.
Okay. Well, and just besides those questions, one real quick one. I did receive input or response from INSILC when I filled out the survey that was sent to me. They sent me a survey to fill out at the last meeting that I attended, which I did. But I wanted to say that that survey is very, very general. It does a good job of collecting demographic data, but it asked me the question, basically, do you have any comments? Rather than maybe a more in-depth question of what are some changes that you feel need to be addressed in Indiana for people with disabilities. That would have been a more directed question. So I just noticed that. I will put it on the survey this time, but I noticed that and I wanted to bring that up. I just feel like there's still a long way to go with this action plan. Thank you.
All right, this is Casey. Thank you for your response, for your questions and such. We will be, there are a lot of ways you can get involved and so forth. And while, this meeting itself is more a business meeting, where you get involved in that is getting involved with the SPIL, the State Plan for Independent Living. And Chris Spinks is our chair for that, and she will share a little bit about it. But there are separate SPIL committee meetings that can be viewed, and you can definitely get involved with her too, which is where they have work groups that create these things and go forward with the things, and that's where different people can be involved.
And I do appreciate that, but I wonder why INSILC is not approaching consumer organizations and encouraging them to have input. I mean, where can I find these policies? I looked on your website and I didn't see anything. Maybe they're not there yet, but or maybe I missed it. But I definitely didn't see any kind of like draft of a policy manual at all.
So this is Casey. Let me, can we follow up afterwards on this? So I can definitely address the questions with you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I think we have time for one more comment, and I see Karen Wilson with your hand up. And then we will have another comment session at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Hi, this is Karen Willison. So I just wanted to follow up on what a couple of other people have said with regards to public feedback. My opinion is just that the corrective action plan should not be approved at this time. You know, I understand that some steps have been taken. However, I'm just seeing still too many instances where, you know, the committee has not done what it should, you know, not reaching out to these various consumer organizations. And also, I, in particular, have deep concerns regarding what I saw at the Spill Committee meeting regarding the guardianship issue. It seems that this state does not want to bring its policies in line with the national consensus that guardianship in nearly all cases is bad and that it is not something that that independent living centers should promote. It is not something that they should be involved in any way, shape, or form, other than trying to protect people from being forced into guardianships. And so I just don't think that, you know, we should be approving a corrective action plan for a state that is not adhering to the independent living philosophy in that aspect, as well as many other aspects that we've been discussing. You know, I just think that the probationary status needs to continue until INSILC can prove that they have taken, that they have made more efforts and that the efforts that they have done so far are actually working, because as of now, I'm not seeing that.
This is Casey. Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
Mike, I think we're
at time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Mike, can you spotlight the interpreter, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Mike, have you removed the people that are done speaking so that we have less boxes on the window?
Yes, we should be good to go.
All right, thank you. So up next is our committee and state updates, reports, and comments. Mike, if you could please give your executive director comment or your executive director report. Sorry.
You're fine. Yep, happy to do that.
Catherine Best has her hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Catherine.
I want to make a comment. I would appreciate it if everybody would be patient with the accessibility with the interpreters. You know, the interpreters need to be spotlighted, and you know, when we switch, that just the patience would be appreciated. Thank you.
That's a good note, Catherine. Thank you. We will make sure that we do that before we continue with the agenda. And so I'll go ahead and start with my report. And so I do have a few items that I wanted to touch on. The first is that in 2026, we're going to begin the process of conceiving a strategic plan. And so in order to do that, we're taking a few steps. We've sent out an RFP for proposals to help us as a facilitator for that. Those went out on November the 19th. That went out to a handful of folks that we would like to be the facilitator. Their letter of intent to be the facilitator for the process is due to the INSILC office on Monday the 15th. And then the full proposal for someone on the project is due on January the 5th. And so once we have the final submissions from the facilitators, we'll reach out to some council members and we'll set up a few interviews to talk to some folks to select the best facilitator to help us through that process. And then our plan would be then to approve that strategic plan facilitation contract at our meeting in March, and then to begin the strategic plan process in April. And I think this is going to be really key. It is something that is mentioned in a couple of different ways in the spill around some partnerships and things. But as we're really starting to make progress, I think as an organization, I think it's going to be a great time for us to have somebody from outside to come in and talk about ways that we can strengthen the organization, some ways that we continue to grow and improve, and some ways that we can continue to make INSILC better. And so really excited to get that project underway. And we'll have a lot more to say about this in March when we're ready to present the contract and kind of go from there. But I think it's going to be a great next step for us as an organization. So I'm excited to start that. And then I did want to give people an update on the public forums. And so since our last meeting in early September, we have had a couple of those. And so we did an in-person event in Evansville on September 23rd. We actually held 2 events in the same day. We did a transportation symposium, and we had that in the morning, and that was in conjunction with our friends at the League. We were able to do a transportation symposium. A couple of the highlights from that event, we had some great networking opportunities. Attendees were able to connect with individuals from different backgrounds. We had a lot of policymakers who were involved in the transportation arena in the Evansville area. We also had some actionable advocacy there. Attendees worked in kind of small groups to develop projects to improve transportation in the Evansville area and got some opportunity to work on kind of starting that. And then we had a chance to do some interactive discussions where they were able to share their experiences and really kind of learn from each other. And so it was a really kind of a really, I think, great event. This was a piece of the Inclusion Institute. That's a great program that the League offers. And we're really excited to bring this element of that to our event in Evansville. And we had really good success with that. We actually had 75 attendees attend that, which was really good. So it was a successful event. We're excited to talk about how we might be able to continue that process in 2026. And then in the afternoon, we had our disability town hall there in Evansville as well. We had a few featured speakers. We had Mayor Stephanie Terry, State Rep Alex Burton, and City Councilor Ben Trockman. And we had 85 members of the public attend that event. And so that was our best attended town hall that we've had so far. So that was really great to see. We were able to have 2 TV stations come and do media coverage. You can see clips of that on our social media. It was great to get that, to have that and get some traction. Katie Myers, our operations manager, did a really good job putting that together and setting up the social media and getting the word out. So it was a really great event overall, and it was good to be in the Evansville area. And then just yesterday and the week before, we had our virtual town hall. We did this in 2 different sessions. This we did differently than we did last year. A couple of the things that I really liked about it is we were able to partner with 3 other disability organizations. We did this in collaboration with the ARC of Indiana, with Down Syndrome Indiana, and with the Autism Society of Indiana. And that first event on December the 2nd focused on the recent changes in Medicaid, and we were able to give people an update of kind of where that's at and where we think it might be going in 2026. And then the event that we had yesterday talked about bills that were going to be in the upcoming legislative session. So I think this was really good for us to have a really, I think, subject matter events that were timely, and I think that are of great concern to people with disabilities at this current time. And it was able for us to be a chance for us to be responsive on those issues and to again have content from some of our partner organizations. One of the themes when you read our current spill, there's several goals in there that talk about collaboration and doing events collectively with other organizations. And to be able to pull this off and to be able to do these with other organizations was really good. So I was excited to see the attendance and really just kind of see where we can take that as well. But that was another event that I'm really proud that we were able to pull together in 2025. And then for our town hall schedule in 2026, We are going to be in New Albany, and that is going to be on March 31st, and that's going to be at IU Southeast. We will post more information about this. We're still putting together the panel and who's going to be there. We'll have more detailed information to share soon, but we're really excited to get out to that New Albany area. And then we're going to be in Columbus in June of 26, and we'll have a specific date and a venue to announce hopefully shortly. And then we're planning on being in Indianapolis in September of 2026 and doing something in conjunction with the Independence Indiana Conference. And so that'll be another chance to really work with other groups to promote that event, and doing something in conjunction is also, I think, really a really key for us in terms of getting the word out and showing our ability to collaborate. And then in December of next year, we'll plan another virtual town hall. So we like these virtual town halls because of the weather, and we know how kind of the weather can be in December. It's also a great way to do something that's statewide that really attracts people from across the state. So we will have more information to share on that as we get closer to next year. And then also I wanted to update you guys on our Humana project. Just as a reminder that we received a grant from Humana to do training for their staff. And so we, as a method of getting that done, we contracted out with Independence Indiana to do that training. And they were able to do that, one in November and one yesterday, actually. And that was good. We had about 35 people attend those on average between the two. We had really great expertise from the members of ILP who were there from Independence Indiana who put on the training. They have great experience in independent living and in kind of in diversion, and were able to really, I think, present some really compelling information to the attendees. The attendees weren't always as maybe participative as we would have liked, but the team from Independence Indiana did a really awesome job, particularly yesterday, of working through some activities and some breakout sessions, and really as a way to get those folks engaged. And that was great to see. And they were a great representative of the network for the team at Humana. And so we're going to take that a few different ways. One, we're going to get some survey data from that group after the training, but we think there's more opportunities to do additional training for the Humana staff. And so part of our follow-up with them is going to be seeing if we can arrange to do some future trainings for them. And we're also going to reach out with the other two organizations that are doing the Pathways program, and that would be Anthem and with United Healthcare. And so we're going to reach out to them and see if we can set up this same arrangement with them to train their staff, because it was really, I think, an eye-opener when we did the training for the Humana staff, how much this is needed and how much they didn't know and how much of a resource the network could be. So it was a really good opportunity. And I really want to thank the team from Independence, Indiana, because I think they put on a fantastic training.
Mm.
And then my final note would be on the Inclusion Institute. And so this is stemming from a couple of things. One of the goals in the spill is for us to train a minimum of 100 advocates. And we wanted to do that in conjunction with our friends at the League, because again, they have such an excellent model with the Inclusion Institute. And we had a really good event in Evansville when we did the transportation piece. And so we're talking to them about some opportunities to do that again at one of our 2026 town halls and to pair that together. And so we're having some ongoing conversations, and we hope to be able to announce something soon. But that was a really, I think, a great partnership for us. We were able to, again, in Evansville, train about 75 advocates really thoroughly on transportation and to bring that community together. And so we would love to have that again in 2026. And so we'll be continuing that negotiation, and hopefully we'll have something official to announce in early next year. And that wraps up the end of my report for today.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. So up next, we have Anna Thompson for the treasurer report, please.
Hello, this is Anna, and I am reporting budget versus actuals for October 2025. Our total revenue actual was $1,692.15. The budgeted amount was $23,720 for revenue, and the revenue is low due to outstanding invoices, so that number should be coming up. Total operating expenses, the actual was $4,610.62. The budgeted amount was $4,369.98. Our total personnel expenses, actual was $14,243.94, and the budgeted amount was $18,782.42. If the council has any questions, please ask them. And for any future questions, feel free to reach out to Mike or myself.
All right, this is Casey. I do want to also add that I see that Mrs. McFadden has also joined us today. We had not received confirmation that she would be, so pleasantly surprised that she is joining us as well. So Mike, if you could please add her in, since I see you just added Mr. Nye.
Yes, I will do that. Eric, I just sent you an invite to be a panelist.
I believe she's been added in. Okay. So next up, we will have our sole director representative report by Ms. Amy Browning-Barble.
Hi, this is Amy Browning-Barble, and today presenting, we will have a couple of centers to describe the programs and services that they are providing in their respective areas. First, we will have Tammy with accessibility in Indianapolis, followed by John at the League. So Tammy.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Give me just 1 second. Mike, can you let me know if you can see the screen?
Yes, it's coming through right now, Tammy.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us to give you some information on accessibility and the services that we provide. Excuse me. If you have any questions, please let me know. Our first slide is just a picture of people chatting together, some of them with visible disabilities, and it's the title of the slide, which is our organization overview. The mission of accessibility is to empower our peers with disabilities to lead and control independent lives fully included in community life. And we take that very seriously. On this slide, you see a map of Indiana, and the locations of the Centers for Independent Living are included here. We are in number 1 with our offices in Indianapolis, and we serve Central Indiana. So again, we serve Marion and the 7 donut counties, as they're called here. This is a picture of the team. They're a wonderful group of people, of advocates of all sorts of disabilities, and approximately 83% of our staff are people with disabilities. We have 11 staff at the moment, 8 full-time and 3 part-time. I'm so sorry, I have a frog in my throat. These staff members are experts on disability and disability issues. We offer a series of peer support groups, from neurodiverse peer support, an amputee support group, families of visually impaired individuals support group, a spinal cord injury support group, financial independence, and a Spanish language Zumba class. Like all Centers for Independent Living, we provide the 5 core services.
Mike, if we could get you to spotlight, please. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yes, I'll do that right now.
Mike, will you let me know when we have accessibility?
Okay, Tammy, you should be good now.
Okay, thank you. So like all Centers for Independent Living, we provide the 5 core services of information and referral, IL skills training, peer counseling, individual and systems advocacy, and transition diversion, which, as I'm sure you know, is both transition from nursing homes, diversion from getting into those institutions, and facilitating the transition of youth to post-secondary life. In addition to the 5 core services, we do other things. Most CILs do more than the 5 core services. We provide orientation and mobility training to individuals with visual disabilities. We have a program called Visually Impaired Blind Services, which we call VIBE, and that serves people of all ages. We are part of the OIB program, which serves people 55 years of age and older who are not seeking employment, but we also serve a younger group of people. We have a domestic violence and sexual assault support group. This is one of very few CILs. We are one of very few CILs that actually provide this particular service. And we have been working with other organizations because we're not always the experts in this particular field. And we do a lot of work in making sure that there are warm handoffs. Sadly, the number of people with disabilities who are impacted by domestic violence and sexual assault is extraordinarily high. And then obviously we do our transition and diversion programs. We have a really robust fee for service led by our outreach coordinator, which allows us to fund additional things beyond the federal and state funding that we receive. We have a robust grants application process, and I'm delighted to say that we have a lot of success in receiving those grants. So much like INSILC goes out into the public to do educational work, we do educational work, and we also accept fees for particular trainings. Disability education, reasonable accommodations, accessibility audits, and whatever individual agencies or companies would like us to work on with them. We have a really robust board of directors. 87.5% of those board members are people with disabilities. And they are really committed to making sure that we achieve our strategic aims every year and our alignment with the SPIL. So that is accessibility and what we do in a nutshell. I mean, obviously, we're always proud of our centers and could go on for some extensive period of time talking about them. But we just wanted to give you an idea of the kind of unique things that we do here in Central Indiana. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting us.
That was really good. And next we have John at the League.
Sure, give me just a moment here to share my screen and make sure I do this correctly. Mike, can you all see my screen?
Yes, you're up now, John.
Awesome. Thanks for giving me a few moments of the council's time today. I got about 10 slides, but I'll try to go through them relatively quickly without overwhelming interpreters or anybody that needs me to slow down. If you need me to slow down, please let me know. This first slide is the title slide. It simply says the League. On the left-hand side, it has our logo. On the right-hand side, gives my name, my title as President and CEO, and today's date. This next slide, just a few highlights and facts. Actually, the League has been around since 1949, well, since 1950, but in 1949, Helen Keller actually came to Fort Wayne and raised the first money to start the organization by speaking at one of our local high schools to a group of concerned citizens, and she raised that first budget of $7,000. And I only wish that $7,000 would go as far today as it did back then. I tell you that. In 1981, we became the first Part C funded independent living center in the state of Indiana. We currently have 14 programs and services, including the 5 core services, and then we go beyond, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. We are clearly led by people with disabilities. Our board of directors can be between 11 and 15 members. We are currently at 11 members, seeking out a few more. But 72% of those 11 members are people with disabilities of varying disabilities, mobility issues, chronic disorders, hard of hearing, the list goes on. 100% of our leadership team are people with disabilities, physical disabilities, chronic disorders, neurodivergent, mental, emotional issues, one representative who's deaf, etc. And then 75% of our overall staff are people with disabilities, including all those disabilities that I've already mentioned, plus blind and visual impairments, and we really have anxiety and depression. We really span the gamut of disabilities represented through our organization. Oop, sorry, I skipped a slide. Our service area is the north for our Part C funds is the northeast corner of Indiana. So we are based in Allen County and Fort Wayne. So our core services are reach within those 11 counties. We then have some other services. Our home care services focus only on Allen County, and that is simply a staffing issue. With home care, the farther we reach out into the rural counties, unfortunately, the harder it is to get staffing, and it makes it tough for us to meet those commitments when we make them. Our older independent blind program also reaches into St. Joe, Elkhart, Stark, and LaPorte counties, so up into that South Bend area. We are thrilled to have that partnership with the state of Indiana. Our DeafLink services, so DeafLink is the largest nonprofit sign language interpreting agency in Northeast Indiana. It is a fee-for-service for us, so it also reaches beyond our 11 counties of Northeast Indiana to some other Indiana counties, as well as parts of Ohio. And then we have a contract with the state of Indiana for case management as part of their deaf services department. Our Braille transcription services reach nationwide. We're pretty close to nationwide. American Electric Power hires us to transcribe things into Braille in large print, I think in 17 states, as one example of one of our customers. We're not a big player in that particular fee-for-service market, but we've been a steady player in that market since 1995. And then our Benefits Enrollment Center, which I'll talk about in a moment, that is funded by the National Council on Aging, or predominantly by the National Council on Aging, serves statewide and is currently serving, I believe, 66 of the 92 counties. So our Independent Living Services Division, the reality is everything we do, every service we offer, it aligns with the independent living philosophy and within the services that can be provided within the regulations. This was our first department, so to speak, though, so it still carries the moniker of Independent Living Services Division. Within this division or department, you find individual advocacy, you find information referral, community living, which is really focused on transition and diversion, peer support, which we do both on an individual level, and then we run peer support groups predominantly on the vision loss area. I believe we currently have 9 groups going within a 14 county reach. Orientation and mobility, we actually have 3 orientation and mobility specialists on staff. That is a fee for service that vocational rehabilitation pays us for, as well as local school systems. We have an adaptive equipment program. We've had a youth services program since 1995 that is helping in a variety of ways, getting kids with disabilities into typical recreation programs, advocating in case conferences at IEPs, and then focusing on youth transition. I mentioned Braille transcription already, and I believe I've already mentioned senior blind services. We then have our DeafLink division, and as I mentioned, sign language interpreting and case coordination are both fee-for-service activities for us. We also then teach American Sign Language classes in partnership with our local YMCA programs. We have a bridge program to help build up interpreters that have been out of the field for a little while and want to get back in the field. Breaking Down the Barriers is a program where we are bringing in community stakeholders that engage with people particularly people who are deaf, and we're doing it with ASL so that we're effectively getting that information and making those connections. The best example I can give are some of the ones that we do between those barrier meetings we do between law enforcement and the deaf community. If somebody who's deaf gets pulled over too often, it's thought that they're being belligerent and ignoring the police officer when that's not the reality. There's simply a communication barrier. And then we have a mental health pilot program for people who are deaf that is expanding mental health and substance abuse treatment services throughout Northeast Indiana, particularly in Allen County. We have a home care division that provides personal care services. So that's bathing, dressing, eating, meal assistance. Homemaker services like light housekeeping, meal preparation, and managing some basic household chores, and then respite care. Most of the time that is done through Medicaid waiver. We have a few private pay, fee for service, but the rest of it is Medicaid waiver. Our Benefits Enrollment Center It is the only one in the state that is focused on seniors and young adults with disabilities that are on Medicare to help them apply for other cost savings programs that they qualify for. So Medicare Part D, Medicare savings programs, Medicaid, SNAP. There's a few other means tested programs. Since we started that program in 2021, it has saved disabled Hoosiers more than $3 million. Oops, I think I already did home care. Then the Inclusion Institute. The Inclusion Institute is our newest program. We started that in the spring of 2022. It includes a leadership academy, focuses on systemic advocacy, and leads our systemic advocacy and community change efforts. We list out our major advocacy focuses, which are connected communities, which is really local infrastructure, accessible neighborhoods, which is really housing, economic advancement, which is employment and more. So it's employment, it's things like MedWorks, a variety of things like that, and effective communication related to web, media, government meetings. Some examples of the successes of the Inclusion Institute. The Leadership Academy is an 8-month-long program that people with disabilities and their allies can sign up for. It teaches them how to tell their story. It teaches them about independent living, and it teaches them about disability and the impacts on housing, education, employment, healthcare, how to serve on boards, councils, and commissions and committees, because we know the best way to advocate often is to be sitting at that table rather than knocking on that door. In the first 2 years, we graduated 34 participants from that Leadership Academy, and we connected 30 of them with boards, councils, commissions, and committees at both the local level here in Fort Wayne as well as a few statewide councils. This year we have 42 participants. So in 2 years we graduated 34, and this year we have 42 participants. So we have more participants this year than we've had in the last 2 years. Excuse me. A couple of the advocacy things that we can highlight. We convinced the city of Fort Wayne to bring back their home modification grant program for people with disabilities. So I think this year 20 people with disabilities could apply for up to $15,000 to do home mods that allow them to stay in their homes. So home mods like ramps, wider doorways, levered door handles, just as a few examples. Fort Wayne is known for having a huge trail system. We've been working with them to make it more accessible, particularly for those with vision impairments. It is very accessible for people with physical disabilities, but it was not so accessible for people with vision impairments.
Mike, if we
And
could
then
put that spotlight again, please.
Yes, I'll do that right.
Let me know when that's done, Mike.
Okay, new interpreter is spotlighted. John, you should be ready.
Thank you. And then we worked really hard with actually both city and county government. There was a time that press conferences and government events were not interpreted. They are now having ASL interpreters and convince the media to put those interpreters on screen most of the time so that we're effectively communicating with our deaf peers. We then have administrative and philanthropy because we take that resource development pretty important. So I'm the president and CEO. We have a chief operating officer. We have human resources, volunteer management because we'd love to have volunteers, finance and accounting, and then our philanthropy and marketing department. We are about, this is a rough number, about roughly a third government grants, a third fee for service, and a third private grants, events, and donations. So we try to maintain that diversity as best we can. And that would be the end of my presentation. I appreciate the opportunity. Sorry if I spoke really fast. I just wanted to cover a lot in a very short time.
Well, thank you to both Tammy and John for presenting your centers today to help people understand what centers are doing throughout the state. I find your information very helpful, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
This is Casey. John, can you stop sharing your screen, please? Thank you. All right, next up, we have Amy Llewellyn, who is our DSC, our designated state entity representative. She'll be giving a state report.
Actually, the DSC doesn't have anything new to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next up is our INSILC spill committee report with Chris Spinks. Before we start with that report, I do want to share that we had, had some there was a misunderstanding we had received a letter from Liberators for Justice regarding the spill committee and the spill, some of this position as far as the information there. So I have asked Chris, as our spill chair, we will be reaching out to Liberators for Justice to discuss that further as far as because we do value their input as part of the discussion around guardianship. So we will reach out to them and continue with that. So Chris, can you please give your report?
Thanks, Casey. We have just wrapped up our first 2 work groups. In our last public meeting, we announced that we were discontinuing the data analysis group for assessments and that we have disbanded the guardianship alternatives work group. We are starting 4 new work groups the first part of the year. The first one is going to be called Alternatives to Guardianship, and focusing on those alternatives now that people have a better understanding of what guardianship actually is and how it affects individuals. And a focus group planning work group is going to be coming out of the data analysis work group. We'll have a new one called Emergency Preparedness, and this is in as we called for in the spill to address emergency preparedness for individuals with disabilities. And then a healthcare work group, which is going to be working on the resource packet. That is one of our goals in this bill, to have that packet pulled together and have it dispersed and given to 1,000 healthcare providers in the state of Indiana during the year of the spill. We are also currently working on year 1 of our spill report, and that should be ready for our March meeting. And then finally, we are developing a timeline right now for writing the upcoming spill. We're going to announce more on that early in 2026, but we will be starting that process early in 2026, and that will give us a lot of time to put a lot of thought into it, reach out to a lot of individuals, and have a lot more public comment. We have more of a better timeline, a better option, and we're going to take advantage of that to get more input into this bill. And that's all I have today.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. All right. Mike, can you give us what the nomination committee report is?
Yes, I can. I just wanted to let the council know to remind everybody, we sent 3 nominees to the governor's office for approval in September of 2025, and we still have not heard any movement on those. I continue to follow up with the governor's office every few weeks, and they say they're trying to work through a backlog of nominees to their councils. So I will keep pushing on those and let everybody know. As a reminder, the last nominees took about a year to get through. So it may, hopefully be quicker this time, but I'll keep everybody up to speed.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. All right. So now we'll move on to old business. And with old business, we will, the first thing that we do have is discussing the spill and the corrective action plan that we have. Mike, I will turn that over to you to start with.
Sure. Yeah. And we just wanted to let the council know that we are continuing to work with our partners at ACL on both the cap approval and working through some items in the spill. There are 2 items left in the cap for us to do. One of those is approving the policy manual and that is actually next on the agenda. So we will be able to hopefully scratch that off on the list. And then the next piece that we're going to work on is some implementation things, particularly with the spill dashboard and the community activities dashboard. And so we will continue to work with them on that, and we will obviously keep everybody up to date on where we are on that process.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. So just opening the floor, is there any questions or discussions around that from the council?
Casey, this is Anna.
Yes.
I'm not really sure when is the best time to do this, but under old business, could I make a motion to correct the minutes to reflect that there was not a second public comment period? I did not catch that when I was reviewing the minutes, and I apologize for that.
All right. This is Casey. Since it is under, I think we can open the floor for that. So if someone so am I hearing you, Anna, saying to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to correct the minutes.
This is Amy Browning-Varble, and I second that.
All right, thank you for, okay, so we need to do a vote for that so this is Casey. We have a motion on the floor that we had the amended minutes, that we will be amending the amended minutes to reflect that there was not a second public comment period in the September meeting. And so I will do a roll call vote for that. So Louis?
I agree.
Okay. Anna?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Christina?
Oh, Christina said that she had to step out actually during this time, so I think she's not
Okay.
available
All
right now.
No problem. So we'll put that in abstain. Catherine?
Yes.
Okay. And has Dave joined us yet?
No, I've not seen Dave.
Okay. All right, so we had, and then I vote yes as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeses, 2 abstains. All right. So the motion passes, the motion passes to amend the amended minutes to reflect that there was not a second 15-minute time period. Okay. So next up, we also have the policy manual. Mike, would you please describe what those are and what changes we were initiating?
Yes, happy to do that. And so everybody should have a copy of the latest version of the policy manual. I know we've been talking about this for the last few meetings, and so folks have had a chance to kind of see this. We've really been working hard with our colleagues at ACL to get this nailed down. And if you guys remember, we did approve a version of the policy manual last summer. And so this is a revision to that to really strengthen a few key areas for us. One of those key areas is getting public feedback into the spill. And so we have a whole policy and procedure on that. So hopefully you've had a chance to review that. There is also a dispute policy in there, which is again how we would handle a dispute, particularly when it comes to putting the spill together. If one party says that something should be in, somebody else says it shouldn't, or vice versa. We have a process for how to figure that out and how to resolve that conflict. And then the last new policy in there is a policy for how to handle our virtual records. And so because we are at the INSILC office virtual only, so we don't keep paper copies of things, but we do want to have that policy for retention of digital records. And so that's been added. And then there's been a handful of other small edits throughout the policy manual that have been reflected in the different versions that you guys have seen. And so you should have seen all of those changes. And those are the three new policies that are brand new policies in this iteration of the policy manual today. So I think, are there any questions, or anybody have anything specific in the policy manual that they would like to go over before we would potentially put that to a vote? And I suppose one thing, Casey, that I would probably remind the council on that, this is voting on the policy manual as it is today, but it doesn't lock us into this in perpetuity. We could always come back, and if there is a new policy that we think we should add 6 months from now, we could vote on that particular policy, or changes can happen in the future. So that is a possibility as well going forward.
Okay. All right. This is Casey. So we have our new, basically, we have the presented policy manual. If there is there any discussion about the policy manual as far as for the council? If not, then we would need to make a motion to vote to accept the policy manual.
I read through the policies and I think they seem reasonable. But you mentioned working together with ACL. So I don't have any discrepancies with that at all. That's fine.
Okay. Any other comments about the policies? All right, if not, then I need someone to, if everybody is in approval of them, we need someone to make a motion to approve it and then vote.
This is Catherine. I make a motion to approve this policy manual.
Okay.
This is Jennifer David. I second the motion.
All right, thank you. We have a motion on the floor to accept the policy manual as presented to the council, and I now will do a roll call vote for approval of that policy manual. So, Louis?
Agree.
Anna?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Anne?
Approve.
Haley?
Yes.
Christina is, I believe, is she on or is she out? I think she's out.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And Catherine?
Yes.
Okay. And David is not here either, so, okay.
And Mike,
Can
if
you
you could
switch?
spotlight the interpreter.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that means the motion passes. And at this point, so the policy manual will be accepted as presented. Next on the agenda is we have the discussion about a consent agenda. Mike?
Yeah, happy to have this. And so if folks remember at our September meeting, we began the conversation around a consent agenda. And just to remind folks, that consent agenda would be where we would present probably most of our committee reports in that section 8 part of the agenda as one voting item. And we would say to approve the consent agenda, and that we wouldn't hear from most of the presenters in that section, that we would just approve them. We might hear from a different one each month. We thought that might be a way to speed up our business meeting and have opportunities to have other discussions. But really what we heard as part of that conversation in September, and then the comments that I've received since then, is people prefer the format that it is that we use today, which is where each committee gets a chance to speak kind of on their own. Each committee gets a chance, each committee or update is given some time to share what's new with them. And so at this time, we're going to keep the format as is and not move to a consent agenda. So we're not going to put that up to vote. But again, as with most of these things, it is something that we could revisit in the future. And we are always looking at ways of making these meetings more effective for people. So we welcome feedback, other feedback around that or other ideas to improve the process.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just checking with the counselors, any other old business that needs to be added before we close old business? All right. Well, so no, so now we will go on to new business. And the first item is I would like to introduce Mr. Peter Nye and Miss Erica McFadden as our from the Administration of Community Living, and allow them to speak a little bit from them.
Thank you very much. Please confirm that you can hear me and see me, because I know we've had issues with the links. Okay, and while we're at it, will you please, after this meeting, send me the recording, because I see that you're recording it. I would like access to that. May I have that, please?
Yes, we can do that, Peter.
Okay, good. Thank you again for the opportunity to join this meeting and address the INSILC and the other attendees. In the last couple weeks, ACL has received much feedback and many concerns about the implementation of the corrective action plan, which you mentioned earlier. And I don't want to. I do want to give you credit for what you've done. I think you've come a long way, and you've developed a lot of good policies and put a lot of good input into that, and I think that's very valuable. That's very important. And so thanks for sharing about that. Thanks for being so communicative, and so cooperative. That said, in the past couple weeks, my ACL colleagues and I, after reviewing carefully this additional information and feedback and concerns that we've received, we have determined that although you have made very much meaningful progress, implementation challenges remain. Therefore, we're going to revise and extend this cap and extend the cap period to ensure that you have enough time and enough direction to meaningfully and lastingly improve the documents and policies and practices and implementation to adequately respond to the concerns and information that we've received. To support these efforts, we have assigned Gloria Garton to provide training and technical assistance throughout the extended cap period. We fully intend to stay open and transparent in our communications with the INSILC and all other partners. Part of what that means is that we welcome your questions and concerns and ongoing feedback throughout this process. So again, I just want to emphasize the extent that I appreciate the time and effort and other resources that you've invested into complying with the cap and into openly communicating with us. We know how important hearing from all the relevant parties is, and that's what we've been doing. Okay, and I say all the relevant parties, including those who have expressed concerns to us and shared with us information that we're concerned about. So we're going to move forward collaboratively to thoroughly and adequately address these issues for the INSILC to fully comply with federal requirements. So again, we don't mean for this revising and extending the cap to undermine what you've done. Quite the contrary, what you've done is really valuable, but unfortunately, we're not at the edge of being able to approve this cap yet. We will be, but we're not there yet. So thanks again for the opportunity to come speak at this meeting. And if you have questions or comments, you're welcome to ask or share. And you're also welcome to reach me anytime outside the context of this meeting. And another thing I'd like to share is it's good to meet the new people I haven't met, but it's also good to hear from the people I have met, either in DC at the Nickel Conference or when I went to Mitchell, Indiana, to site review sickle. The question is, will we be informed exactly what are the concerns that have been shared with ACL? Yes, you will. We're communicating about them. We'll share that with you. We're not, it's not confidential or private. We're not hiding it from you, and we haven't shared it yet, but we will.
I just want to add the comments that we got are the comments you got. So you have the same ones. They were all the questions that you got from the prior council meeting. So these aren't new. We just read your answers to the questions that your participants gave you all, and that's those were the issues that we heard as well. So there's nothing new that you heard that we heard. I do want to say, and by the way, my name is Erica McFadden. I'm the director of the Office of Independent Living Programs, and I have like black glasses on for those who have low vision. Black glasses on. I have like blondish hair. I'm wearing a white jacket. Around 50-ish. But I wanted to tell you guys that as the silk, I do really appreciate, I want to echo what Peter said. You have been very responsive to the questions that we had for you and for the revisions we've asked you to make. And we have also connected you with the TNTA Center, Gloria Garden, who is with the North Carolina Silk. So she, and if not Gloria, there's other silk reps that can also help be able to get out best practices, because we know how hard it is first to get the right policies in place, because there's so much that was under the silk minimum indicators, and so going through all those, and now the implementation is the hardest part, and we totally understand that. And so we are going to work with you all to make sure that things are fully implemented. We understand some things, some complaints that may come up are things that aren't necessarily a regulatory thing. It's just, it's a complaint that we may not be in ACL's purview. But there are some things that we can help you with related to public comment and ensuring that how the spill is developed and how it's evaluated. And I think, just so you're aware, there are many states that struggle with this as well. So I just want to point that out, that Indiana's not alone. But we will work with you all, and hopefully if Gloria, she may be on this call today, because I think we asked her to also attend. She will be there for you, whatever you need, and then she can also connect with others too. And I said that before. But I just wanted to let you guys know that you have made improvements. Now it's the implementation part and starting to post things and publicly so that people, because I don't know if they all know about some of the changes you've made. Also, I wanted to know, Mike and Casey, are we able to talk about the January thing or no?
Yeah, we can do that. And Erica, Gloria is on the call, and she's a panelist.
Oh, okay, great.
So, yeah.
Oh, great. So one of the things, sorry, Casey.
I was gonna say, this is Casey. Do you want to add Gloria as a panelist? I don't know if she
just did, Casey. Yep.
Good.
Right. So thanks, Erica.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think I think those are all important things to emphasize, especially the fact that you have done much good work and come very far. So we're not rejecting what you've done or telling that you haven't come very far. We are telling that you have further to go.
Yeah. So there's something I wanted to talk about. And Gloria, do you want to introduce yourself as part of this part?
Sure. Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Gloria Garten. I'm currently the executive director of the Silk in North Carolina. I am a white woman with blonde hair, wearing glasses and a navy and blue striped sweater today. Before I became a Silk executive director, I was a center director in North Carolina for 15 years. So I've been on both sides of I've sat in both seats, I'll put it that way. And North Carolina, we've been through our challenges as a silk as well. And so I just want to compliment the Indiana Silk for how far they have come with their policies and procedures and an engagement plan. It's a lot of work. And I want to say I'm really impressed with the level of detail and quality and the time and effort that they have put into these policies and procedures. As a new person working with the Independent Living Training and Technical Assistance Center, I can tell you that, there's some reoccurring things within statewide independent living councils that come up, and policies and procedures should always be in review because things change. And I told Mike and Casey that I think this is one of the strongest policy and procedures manuals I have seen. So I just want to thank you all. And if there's anything that I can do as a consultant with the Training and Technical Assistance Center, I am here to support the Indiana Silk. So I'll turn it back over to Erica.
Yeah, so, okay, this is one of the things that we all have heard, the Silk and ACL, is that it seems like there's not enough space for public comments or feedback. And I think the issue is, and I know the Silk has been really good about, they're giving 2 15-minute periods of time on their Silk meeting, and that's not, I just wanted you to be aware that's not normal or typical, right, Gloria? You don't, typically silks don't even have, sometimes there's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the end of a meeting, and people have to respond to whatever's on the agenda. So clearly they're trying to be responsive to the community, but it's not maybe at the level that the community wants, like where it's a two-way conversation. And like on things that are meaningful, that are actually like really good questions and thoughtful things, and not just things like, you did this wrong or you did that wrong, but constructive feedback that can help move the silk forward. So I thought what would be helpful is to have a separate space. I had recommended to INSILC that instead of trying to fit in all these public comments into the meetings, just to have these like standing like public forums. I think that was in the state plan anyway, that you would have a couple of public forums throughout the year and invite the public, and that can give a space to have, discussion about the state plan, how it's going, how to evaluate it, like anything that the Silk needs help on. It would be a good thing to ask the audience, but that was just an idea we had. We're not telling the Silk to do that, but January was a time for you all to be able to have more time, to share comments. We're going to be there. I know Gloria was going to be there. And it's not a Silk meeting. It's just a community meeting, input meeting, which I think that is what, not to speak for you all, but it seems like that's what you're looking for, because these Silk meetings are typically, agenda driven, voting on action items, and there's a short public comment. It's not the space you're looking for, which is what I think you're saying. There's not enough space for us to be able to engage throughout the year. So we're working with the Silk on that, and I think I'm hoping that'll help with some of these things, and addressing accessibility and things like that. But I do want to just give kudos to the Silk, because they have been. I know there's things that the community doesn't like, and I know that people are not, are frustrated, but there has been progress made on the back end. Now we're going to look at the forward end on the implementation and working with you all and helping them to be able to do that constructively. But we ask you all to please also think constructively, not be able to not just say things that, you did this wrong or you did that wrong, but offering actually ideas that can help. Asking good questions, what are some things that can be done differently that would be helpful for them? They are very responsive to feedback. They have been from us. I'm hoping they will be for you, and I think they will. But But I just wanted to just say that out loud and just know that, you know, we support all of you. All of you are our IL. The Silk is aware. We did have a conversation about guardianship, and we're very clear that guardianship as a whole is not in the IL philosophy, so they know that. And that's why they're working on getting out the information about alternatives, which is an IL thing, is to making sure that while people have choice, that they continue to have their voice, that they're able to vote, that they're able to make their own decisions. And so I think the Silk understands that, and that's what the way that they were. I think that's where you're moving, right, guys? Is figuring out how to get more information about alternatives because they're underutilized.
That's precisely that is what they shared with us when they said they're getting rid. Sorry to interrupt, Erica, but when they told us they're getting rid of their guardianships committee and replacing it with an alternatives to guardianship committee. And one thing about that I want to emphasize is that regardless of the activities of the committee, the name of the committee sends people a powerful message. So calling it an alternatives to guardianship committee is exactly the right step because it sends people the right message. Now, that doesn't mean that that it fully achieves what you need to achieve just by calling it by its name.
We're gonna have an interpreter.
Peter, you have to slow down.
Oh.
Peter, slow down. Do you have an interpreter?
Yeah, we're gonna do an interpreter switch. Can you please?
Yes, I'll repeat that after the interpreter switch. Please tell me when to speak.
And the new interpreter should be spotlighted, so
yes?
you should be okay, Peter.
Okay. What I'm saying is, when you shared that you were eliminating your guardianship committee and replacing it with an alternatives to guardianship committee, that's good marketing and public relations because naming a committee guardianship committee sends the message that you're providing and or promoting guardianships even if you're not. Whereas calling the committee alternatives to guardianship committee sends the message that you're complying with the IL philosophy by refusing to support or provide or promote guardianships and by promoting and facilitating and encouraging alternatives to guardianships. So the answer to what's in a name in this context is very much, not everything, but very much, and some of what's in a name is the message that you are sending and are supposed to send, partly because part of your job is to lead by example. That's part of the IL philosophy, is peer mentoring, which is another way of saying, in some respects, leading by example.
So all that to say is that we really thank the Indiana Silk for being receptive to feedback, for doing what needs to be done on addressing some of the compliance concerns. And I also want to thank also the public and the SILs and people who also continue to provide feedback, especially when they have good constructive feedback, because it's helpful because then it helps the Silk as well to know, you know, when there's an issue or something. Like, for example, the minutes thing, they didn't know, you know, they didn't read it closely, so they didn't know about that wasn't in there. So it's just like, you know, supporting each other, like in order for us to move forward together, it's like being collaborative, and that means through communication and discussion and trying our best to try to support each other as much as we can, you know? So please all don't give up. I think everybody is wanting mostly the same things. So I think if we can just focus on that and move forward, it's going to be better for people with disabilities in the state of Indiana. Okay. So again, you know, I'm a social worker, so so I try to get everybody to get along, but at the same time, I really do. We do want IL to be stronger in Indiana, and we think everybody has the best intentions at heart. And so we're going to continue to provide TA, you know, and the community. If you guys have feedback, please share it with the Silk as well. And please try to make it constructive feedback and not just, here's what you're doing wrong. This is what you did wrong. Like, just try. And I think that that's going to help everybody when it comes to moving, you know, how to move forward. those are just some words of wisdom from prior other states that we've dealt with. And on that note, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and give it back to who was it? Casey that was running the meeting?
Sure, it's okay. So thanks, Erica, and thanks again for the opportunity to attend this meeting and the opportunity to address the attendees. And yes, she's apologizing, sort of, for getting up on her soapbox, so to speak. We hope you understand why and how that's necessary. But I also want to take this opportunity to say no amount of preaching the IL philosophy is too much. It's always worth preaching. So thanks for preaching it. And let's practice. Now let's do a better job of practicing it.
All right. This is
And
Casey.
I see Gloria with her hand up. So I did want to give Gloria a chance if she had something to add.
Sure.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to reiterate what Erica and Peter just shared, and that is, having gone through something similar in North Carolina when I was a center director, I realized that listening to one another and having productive conversations makes such a difference. And the tone in which questions are asked and just being good listeners and giving people a chance to give their side of their perspective, because just like this guardianship issue, yes, that was a pretty hot topic when that letter came out for a lot of the silks across the country, and especially some centers, because we do know that there are some centers that are running guardianship programs, and technically that is against IL philosophy. But I think the Indiana Silk, and when you come to the meeting in January, you're going to really hear more about the policies and procedures and have an opportunity to ask more questions, and that'll be important as well. But I just can't emphasize enough, communication is the key to all of this. And in terms of a public comment, I just wanted to add on to what Erica was saying, and that is most consuls limit their public comment to 5 minutes or less per person. And if you need an accommodation to provide more time, that can be provided. Usually public comment, if you're wanting to come to a meeting to speak, at least a lot of consuls require you to send the chair or the executive director or whoever is in charge notice that you're planning to come and provide public comment. Of course, we want to make our consul meetings as accommodating, as accessible as possible. So that's not always, the case, that if somebody does join our meeting and they want to make a public comment, obviously, yes, we're going to allow them to do so. But we do honor that time commitment, because that's only what's fair to the rest of the speakers and presenters and the important business that has to be accomplished that day. And sometimes our public comments are going to be addressed in a specific report. So we don't want to, get off our schedule by addressing public comments when it's going to be talked about in a report later in the meeting. So these are just things to keep in mind as you're having your meetings. And that's all. Thank you. And I appreciate being here too. I appreciate the opportunity to join the meeting.
All right. This is Casey. Thank you, Gloria. And I want to thank you, Erica and Peter, both for coming today. It's been a pleasure to have you here. I want to make sure that we are watching our time. So Mike, I think we have one last piece of new business on the strategic plan, and before we do our second comment session. So
Yes, and Casey, I just want to add one piece to that Erica had talked about a forum in January. So I did want to let people know that we do have a date. We did pick a date and a time for that. And that is going to be on Wednesday, January. I'm going to pull it up right now to make sure I get it. Wednesday, January 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern. That would be 1 p.m. Central. And so we will send information out to all the SILs about that. We will post that on our website. We'll put it in our newsletter, and we'll put it on our social media as well. But that is the date and time for the event that Erica was talking about, the public forum, the discussion. So that's Wednesday, January 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then for the strategic plan, this was just, again, just wanted to get this into new business, that this will be, we will be talking about this more in March, but we do have an RFP, a request for proposals, out for facilitators. And then we will be narrowing that down to a few in January. And then we will hopefully be voting on the contract for the facilitator at our March meeting, and that will be ready to start in April of 2026.
All right. Would that be all, Mike?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, just confirming. So,
Yep.
all right, thank you. All right, so we will close out new business, and we will open the floor for public comments again for another 15 minutes. So,
Okay, and I see Jeremy with his.
This is Catherine.
Oh, yep. Go ahead, Catherine.
What can I do for you?
I want for a public comment. As far as accessibility.
I found this on the web for public comment. Check it out.
I'm having some kind of feedback. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, it sounded like an AI voice, maybe, Catherine, or a screen reader, maybe.
Try it again. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll see if that works. Okay, I'm sorry. So anyway, I just want everybody to be mindful, when we do have interpreters, and because, we switch out interpreters, that's when you have to spotlight and everything. And I don't want to be a barrier to anybody by any means, but for a deaf and hard of hearing person, trying to make sure that we have the access and not have that lag, to make sure that we're spotlighting interpreters when they switch for deaf and hard of hearing people that have access to, all the meetings and all the comments. So sometimes, we just can't always, catch that. So just being mindful of that and taking the time to do that. I appreciate that. Thanks and have a great day.
all right.
Thanks, Catherine. Okay, and actually, we're going to go, Nancy had her hand up in the previous session and didn't get a chance to make comment. So we'll start with Nancy Gadsden, and then Jeremy will come to you next. And so Nancy, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Nancy. So I was wondering what avenues or what efforts you guys are doing to make people aware of, the centers that are available to them, because there's still, newly disabled people who are not aware that these services are available to them. And also for the existing consumers, what are you guys doing to reach out to them to actually get them to collaborate, since you guys are supposed to be representing the consumers and, getting to know what we need, what are our needs, what are you guys actively doing? And if you guys are not doing anything right now, what will it look like in the future?
Okay.
And
So
Mike, if you could spotlight the interpreter again, thank you.
Yes, I will do that right now. Thank you. Okay, the new interpreter is spotlighted.
all right. This is Casey. Your question is actually got multiple parts to it. I'll answer on these questions. I'll try to answer what I can. So first off, we have our spill committee, which is working on a lot of different pieces of the spill, and it's implementing pieces. There are parts of that of creating interactions out with. So that's where some of that response would, as far as really should be answered by Chris, who is our spill chair. Mike is also doing a lot of work as the executive director, going to different events and different things. He's going to conferences and meeting with different people and doing different things as the executive director. So then there is our newsletter that people can sign up for that can go out. We've also been hosting the town halls. We've had 4 a year, which are in unserved areas. So we've had one in Evansville, we've had one in Lafayette, we've had one in, Mike talked about the ones that will be happening in 2026, where local people and where he's reaching out and putting that information out to all basically to the local networks. We're trying to reach out to, I believe Mike and Katie have been reaching out to different organizations within those areas, at least sending information out about those.
Regarding people who are newly disabled, what are you guys doing to make them aware?
Okay. So this is Casey. I know that as far as newly disabled, one of the pieces of this bill is working on getting information out to medical doctors as far as medical offices and so forth.
Okay, so I haven't seen any information about Centers for Independent Living in my doctor offices. When I became disabled, they didn't give me any resources.
Okay.
So will there be a plan to actively change that, work with the medical providers?
So this is Casey. Would you be interested in joining? I know that there will be I believe there's going to be a work group that would be working on that piece. Would I be able to get you in touch with Chris about possibly being a part of that?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. Would you, could you send, Katie, would you be able to get Nancy's email so that we can connect her? All right.
Yeah, Katie's not on mic, but we can do that. We'll do that, Casey.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
And then I see Jeremy with his hand up, and then Christian Fuller will be after Jeremy.
Thanks. Yeah, and I failed to do this last time. This is Jeremy Warner. Walking Spirit is my organization. I am a bilateral above knee amputee from Indianapolis with also several hidden disabilities. And so one, being productive. I want to thank you guys for actually getting to where you are, posting the public comments and your responses. I would recommend that you add into the minutes that you reference that those are in a separate document called questions and answers. So that can actually be found by somebody if they are looking for that information. The thing that I wanted, and I raised my hand when the conversation about the guardianships was taking place, and I appreciate what Peter and Erica were saying, the independent living philosophy, what's in a name. I also, though, felt very disoriented because I sat on, I'm getting a weird note there. Because I sat in on the spill committee meeting in November. And what I witnessed was a vote not only to disband the guardianship committee, but a vote to create a new committee. And maybe that's what you're talking about as the alternatives to guardianship. But what was discussed as the purpose of that committee was to write a new independent living philosophy for Indiana regarding guardianships, because the previous committee determined that Nichols' statement on guardianships are not compliant with the independent living philosophy is too restrictive. There was a huge conversation at that spill meeting, and I feel like that's completely been breezed over here. We have to actually talk, if we're going to put the words in there, alternatives to guardianship, which that was not what was discussed. We have to actually have what we're saying and doing actually be representative of what we're putting in the names of things And when it comes to independent living philosophy, that to me was one of the most disturbing things I have heard in the year that I've been monitoring INSILC, was having a subcommittee within the State Plan for Independent Living Committee vote to rewrite independent living philosophy because they don't like the national statement, because they feel like it's too restrictive on guardianships. So I'm sincerely hoping that things have changed. Thank you. That's all that I want to say.
Thank you. This is Casey. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate your recommendation. That's a really good recommendation. I'll ask Mike to make sure that we do that as far as adding the questions and as far as a reference to a second document and where to find that. So
Yep.
we can do that. And thank you for your comment on the guardianship piece. So that's noted. So is there next person?
Yes, our next comment would be Christian Fuller, and then it will be Tim Allison after Christian. Christian, you should be able to speak now. Yes, you're coming through fine.
This is Casey. Mike, would you want to respond to that? Because I think
Sure.
you and Katie have been coordinating those.
Yeah, absolutely. And so our plan for 2026 is to be March 31st to be in New Albany, Columbus in June 2026, Indianapolis in September 2026, and then we will do another virtual one in December. We were in South Bend in June of last year, and we were in Lafayette in March of 2025. And so one area, we will do in this spill, we will have another town hall around March of 2027 before this spill ends. And so, we haven't set a location for that, but we are always open to feedback in terms of where and the best place to have that. And so, I would be happy to take your input as to wanting one in the Northwest for our committees to consider. Oh, no, that makes sense, Christian. I appreciate that, and I will make sure that the committees consider your input. You're welcome. And then I see Tim, Allison had their hand up, and so Tim, you should be able to make your comment now. And then Jason Glenn would be after.
Press the MD plus tilde to reach pop-up and lower hand.
Okay.
You are currently on a.
Can you hear me?
You're a little faint, Tim, but we can hear you.
Okay, what I wanted to ask about, first of all, thank you for taking the time to take our questions and comments. What I wanted to know is what specific steps you have taken with regards to your response that you had for the ACL's corrective action plan. And what exact measurements do you have that have been resulting from those corrective actions that you've already taken? And there was also discussion earlier in the meeting with regards to the policies and procedures manual. And I wanted to know where it's possible to be able to view that as a public participant or attendee.
All right, so this is Casey. The policies and procedures is actually an internal document, and that is something that pertains to how As far as the procedures documents is the internal runnings of INSILC. It is actually a national standard. Most silks, as far as, and I am not aware of any, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong here, but silks don't have their policies and procedures posted publicly for the public to see. So I mean, that's not something that is normal practice. So we haven't posted that. For the documents to be a public document, we would have to do something that the council as a whole would have to vote upon to do. So that's just know that that is why that information is not public. As far as the policies and procedures. Now, as far as this cap, my understanding, might correct me if I'm not correct on this, it should be on our website for the public to review.
Yes, that's correct. It is.
And has that been updated with what changes we've made and what updates we've done? Okay.
Yes, it has. We do, every time that we meet with ACL, we send them an update on where we are with the cap, and that's posted on the website, and that's under the state plan section of the website. That's one of the top headers on the site.
Katie, could you possibly get that link and drop that into the Q&A? I know we're very quickly running out of time. It's almost 4 o'clock.
Press CMD plus tilde to reach pop-up and move focus to next window. You are currently on a button. To lower hand button.
Okay. So this is Katie. I hope that kind of answered the question. I think Katie is getting that link.
Yes, and we'll put that in the in the written answers, the written responses too. We'll make sure that it goes up. We'll make sure there's a link in there as well.
Okay.
And Katie or Casey, I see 2 other hands raised. Do we have time? You have time for 2 more comments?
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Jason Glenn is next, and then Chris Hollingsworth would be our. We're probably out of time at that point.
All right. All right. So we can do one more, and then for Chris, I know we don't have time to meet with you as far as answer that question today, but if you can please email me, I would like to make sure we follow up and that we answer that question, and we will include it with what we share on the website as far as your comments and policies, or comments and Q&A. Sorry. All right, Jason, go ahead.
Hello, thank you for taking my question. It's actually a comment. I want to commend Mike and the crew for doing the best they can. Also, I want to remind you that 60 individuals were trained this summer with Everybody Counts. And I know for me, I would love to help you in any way possible. And I know that there's other people as well. Just want to know, what do you need? How can I get involved? And again, we're not the enemy. You guys aren't the enemy. I just hope that we can come together as a united front.
All right, this is Casey. I would love to work together with you. So please send me an email too, and let's see how we can do that. So
thank you very much.
We're gonna do an interpreter switch, Mike.
Okay.
All right, so this is Casey. We are out of time. Again, if anybody had any other comments or questions that we can try to answer, Katie has been following the Q&A to collect those for us to be able to respond to. If we hadn't responded to them in a meeting, but please email me at kwody@indianasilk.org, so that we can make sure that we communicate and connect. Chris, I told you I would follow up with you. I do not have your direct email, so I would need to have your email to do so. And then I made a note on my notes here that I've got someone else follow. Please reach out so that we can make sure we connect with you. Because we want to make that happen. So I am going, since it is now 4:01, we're going to need to call for a motion to adjourn the meeting. And I look forward to seeing everyone in January as far as with the open session. So, and again, thank you to the council for all being here, and Peter and Erica and Gloria for their support. So.
This is Amy Browning Varble, and I'll make that motion.
All right. So we have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting. And do we have a second?
This is Louis, I second it.
Okay. And we'll do a roll call vote to wrap this up. So, Louis?
Agree.
Anna?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Okay. And I vote yes as well. Thank you very much. The meeting's adjourned. It's 4:03. And everyone have a great holiday.
Thanks for having us. Have a good holiday.
Thank you,
for
everybody.
coming.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Casey, this is Catherine. Do you got a hot minute that I can utilize the interpreter and talk to you for a minute?
This is Casey. I am going to have to jump off. If you want to communicate with Mike, you can do that.
Yeah, that's fine. Mike's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Right, Mike, I would make sure I would stop your recording.
Yes, hang on one
And
second.
happy
Thank you
holiday
for
to you,
that.
by the way, Casey.
Recording stopped.
And I would
Yep.
make sure you get everyone removed off. So.
Yes, hang on one second. Catherine, I just need to, remove everybody.
All right. Thank you. I gotta go. So, sorry.
Oh, sure. No problem.
Thank you, Casey.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you later.